Originally, this was going to be the chapter for the what was it? The Pierce in the Modern. But before we get to the Pierce in the Modern, there is one other Barcza opening that you absolutely need to know. And this one is a bit of a funny one because it's an E4 opening, and it has a lot of the similar ideas with the Pierce in the Modern and what have you, and like it does have a lot of the similar boxer ideas. But Barcza, by the way, Barcza, Barcza, Barcza. I said Barcza. Okay, Barcza. So the Barcza system obviously refers to the knight going here, the bishop going here. You fianchetto, and then you get your bishop in like this, and then you castle, and then you form this specific structure. Um, but anyway, if we just get rid of all that, so I genuinely thought there were only 6 different box openings that somebody could absolutely learn, but there was one additional box based opening that you could be learning, and this is the box opening that we're going to be talking about today. Obviously, this is called the Dragon variation. Oh god, you're actually just going to say that you want pizza already. But wait, don't freak out. As soon as he goes knight to f3, you just back up that pawn a little bit, and then he'll offer trade, and you take, and you develop the knight to f6 here, and it goes knight c3. Bear in mind that there is a bit of a chance that you could be playing, like, say, the Najdorf, and then if they play, like, say, the English attack, you can still transpose this into a dragon variation. And this is one of the more recommended ways to play the dragon variation because, I mean, I mean, let's be real. The dragon is not necessarily the best opening to play at master levels of chess, but it has won a game in classical as recently as 2026. There was a Reykjavik Open where a grandmaster did win a game with black with the dragon, the normal dragon variation. Do not play the accelerated dragon, by the way. Do not play the accelerated dragon because the chances of you actually guessing it is literally 0. They're just going to transpose it into a Rossolimo attack, which is not what you want. But yeah, so obviously this is one of the ways you could be playing the dragon variation of the Sicilian defense. There is this variation where you hold on a moment. Yeah, and there is this version where you fianchetto your bishop right away that also transposes into the dragon. I mean, we'll touch a little bit on the Najdorf as well, why not? If you transpose into the Najdorf, you typically run into this bishop pin idea, and if that happens, you just typically respond with we just typically respond with e6, and they'll typically go queen to d2 to strengthen that diagonal, and you will respond with b5. You counterattack on the queen side as the pin gets maintained here. And then this will allow the bishop to step in and block that, and then you also have the queen stepping in here. I mean, if you really want to learn more about I mean, if you really want to learn more about the Najdorf, like you should be able to like look at a bunch of master games to like figure this out. But that's a story for another time. Uh, again, if you play the Najdorf and he goes like this, the English attack, I'm not quite sure if it's the more popular. I'm pretty sure the hold on a moment. I'm pretty sure Bishop G5 is the more Bishop G5 was once the more popular variation of the Najdorf, but I'm not quite sure about nowadays. But in the event that you play the Najdorf and he plays the English attack, my top recommendation is to transpose immediately to the dragon, because the theory you have to learn is far less of a headache. But it can also transpose into g6, and then if he goes bishop e3, you can play a6 afterwards. That also transposes into the quote-unquote Dragondorf. And we're back to what we were looking at before. From there, they'll very likely go f3 and bishop g7. By the way, this f3 move is the Yugoslav attack. I mean, if this transposes into the Yugoslav attack, we can probably technically say that the term Yugoslav attack is technically an opening for black as well. So yes, it's unlike martial attack or say King's Indian attack. It is a mutually attacking system where white will try to attack you on the king side, and you counterattack on the king side. No, queen side, sorry. They will attack you on the king side, and you will attack on the queen side. So that looks like this. Oh, sorry. Oh. And then you will attack on the queen side like this. So that's how the Yugoslav attack works. And as we have proven already, that the Yugoslav attack is both can be an opening for both white and black. Yeah, you still get pretty good attacking chances here. They'll typically respond with queen to d2. You castle, and they will castle queenside. And then your best option is knight to c6. But even without the a5, well, let's see what else they can do from here. g4 is like the next best move, and then bishop to e6 is another one that can come up. And then knight takes e6, knight takes f takes e6. And then g5 is the next move that's gonna come up. And then you go knight to d7. Very much in the spirit of the King's Indian defense, as we looked earlier. Again, we will start looking at King's Indian defense again in chapter 7. It's now chapter 7 now, because chapter 4 used to be Pirza Modern, but now it's the Dragon, and then we're looking at Pirza Modern in chapter 5. Yeah, very much like what we saw before. This time we're just rerouting all of our pieces to the queen side rather than the king side. And then you have this dragon bishop just eyeing on that diagonal right there. But another way that the dragon can be played here, bishop g7, f3. This is also the Yugoslav attack, and then you technically could play a6 here too. And then queen to d2, and then b5. That's another way you can be playing the dragon. Again, you attack on the queen side like this, and they attack you from the king side like this. So there's that. Next move, a4, b takes a4, rook takes a4, yeah, sure, and then you probably see stuff like castles, bishop b2, bishop b7. Yeah, let's do that, and then in this case, the rook already took your pawn, so their only option is to castle kingside like this. That's another way you could be. That's another way you could be facing the Yugoslav attack. In this case, you'll be attacking from the king side. Just bear that in mind. There's that, and then if you don't play a6 and go straight to the main line dragon, you will typically play queen to d. They will play queen to d2. No, wait. If you play the mainline Yugoslav attack where you just castle instead of going a6, yeah, at some point an a6 move is going to be a bit of a blunder, so you gotta be careful on that. Queen to d2, still not late. It's still not too late to play a6 here. Oh, it is too late to play a6 here. Okay, at this point it's too late to play a6 here. Instead, you play knight to c6. And then their best move is g4. But they could also castle kingside here. I mean queenside. Sorry. They could also castle queenside here. That's another way this can play out, and then you play d5. E takes d5, knight takes d5. Yeah, knight takes c6, and then you just... Oh, no, wait, that's d5, sorry. Knight takes c6, yeah, this one, and then you take back with the pawn. Bishop d4, yeah. So, no, that's this. Bishop takes d4, queen takes d4, queen b6, knight to a4, queen to a5, b3, queen to c7, c4, knight to b6, knight to c5, a5, a4, e5, queen to d6, rook to a7, g4, knight to d5, queen takes c7, rook takes c7, c takes d5, rook takes d5, bishop b7, rook takes e5, bishop takes f3, rook g1, rook fc8, rook g3, rook takes c5 check, rook takes c5, rook takes c5 check, king b2, bishop h1, b4, a takes b4, king to b3, h5, king takes b4, rook c1, bishop d3, h takes g4, rook takes g4, king g7, a5, rook to c7, h4, king to h6, rook to c4, rook to b7 check, king to c5, rook to c7 check, king to b6, rook to b7 check. Assuming you play the most textbook like game like this, assuming both players play the top engine moves consistently, this is where you're going to end up. It says browser variation. I'm not cool. Let's look at what the browser variation is. Just to okay, so this is apparently the browser variation. Again, assuming everybody plays the top engine move every single time, it's basically a draw, and you basically trade off all your material and go straight into an endgame as early as move 38. So that is the one downside you have to be aware of. You're basically just throwing everything into an endgame immediately. And yeah, there's next to no long-term compensation. Sorry, there's no long-term compensation. So obviously like you're just gonna end up straight into an endgame right away. So that's the one downside you absolutely have to worry about in the event that you play this. G4 is their best move. If they play that, you go bishop to e6. And the main line from there is knight to knight takes and then f takes. You traded a bishop for a knight, but I mean you're doing pretty fine here. Again, they'll castle queenside, and then you go knight to e5. You definitely don't want to go there. That just you definitely don't want to go there because that just the bishop takes. Bishop e2 is their next move. Queen to c8. Just eyeing down there, putting a pin on these two pieces. And then what? Bishop d4. And you're trying to skewer these two pieces right here. Knight to c6 is the correct move from here. Bishop to g1. What happens if he takes? It is not. It is one of the moves you could be facing. In this case, you just take back with a bishop. Now, another thing that could be happening from here is that they could just be taking right away. That is a mistake. You just take back with the pawn, and then and then you're like minus 0.08. So you're obviously better in this case. And then their only move is like what? Bishop to c4, queen to a5. And then they'll very likely castle queenside because that's what you're supposed to do in the dragon. And as well as most Sicilian defenses. Against this, I just play this line. Oh, you sacrifice a queen. You trade. And then you should have a relatively stable time here. Again, black is better at this point, so you should have no trouble winning this. Another thing that could happen. What's another move that they could be doing? Oh, come on. Okay. G4 we already looked at. What happens if they try to do something like, say, would they do that? No. What happens if they try to do something like this? Another mistake here. You push d5, and then they take. And they could take here, and then that is the best move. And then it just goes straight into a bishop and rook and queen endgame. Rook to b1. I don't think they'll play rook to b1. They'll probably castle, which is another mistake. And then you just play rook to b8. b3. And then queen to d6 is the move. Their only chance at this point is king to b1, sorry. King to b1. And then you have stuff like queen to f6. You're just eyeing down that. You have a battery formed as well. And they have to block that. And then you can just play a5. Just to try to like undermine this. Rook h e1 is his only saving move. And then you just sacrifice. But you will when your queen back. And then you're threatening a rook. So his only choice is like bishop d2 to save it. And then you're already down to an endgame like this. Yeah, not much to say here other than, the fact that you're just going to end up having to play an endgame much sooner here. The Najdorf does last a little bit longer. The Najdorf does last a little bit longer where you, go as far as a few more moves deep and then you have to, like, calculate, like, 20 or so different moves, like, into the game. The Dragon, on the other hand, you go straight into an endgame after, like, 30 moves or so. Yeah, that's all that we really need to say about the Dragon at this point. Yeah, good luck.